Before starting this video, I do want to give a thank you to my patrons that support the channel. And if you would like to support the channel, there are some great benefits for you in the link down below. So with that, let's get into today's video. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on Pub Stomp MTG. So with this video, I'm going to be diving into the Riders of Rohan pre-constructed deck for the new Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth set. And after overlooking the Precon deck, I do have to say it looks like an absolute powerhouse mixed in with Human Tribal and Monarch as well. So the two commanders of this deck is Eowyn, Shieldmaiden, and Aragorn, King of Gondor. I had a similar situation with the Host of Mordor, not knowing which deck I want to go with. Did I want to go more of a Monarch strategy, or did I want to go more Human Tribal focused? So just like the other Precon with the Hosts of Mordor, I am making two separate deck lists for this video. I'm mainly focusing on Eowyn, Shieldmaiden, but with Aragorn, King of Gondor, there's going to be a deck list down below for him as well. But with that, this video is mainly going to focus on Eowyn, Shieldmaiden, because she has some amazing array of abilities. So she does have First Strike at the beginning of combat on your turn. If another human entered the battlefield under your control this turn, create two 2/2 red human knight creature tokens with trample and haste, and then if you control 6 or more humans, you draw a card. So again, we want to be playing as much humans as we can. On top of that, with Eowyn's ability, it doesn't have a specified saying of token or non-token with the humans entering the battlefield. So tokens could enter the battlefield and that'll have that triggered ability happen again. Plus, as you probably already know, I love card draw on my commanders, so Eowyn is definitely the commander I'm going to go with in this video. Again, I do have Aragorn, King of Gondor in the deck list down below if you do want to go check it out. So with that out of the way, let's first talk about some of the cards in the Precon product. Like always, I do like to discuss some more, mainly because I like to highlight some of the biggest and most impactful cards that you may want to consider. So there are a couple of cards to discuss. I do like this Precon for a lot of different elements. So the first card I do want to mention is Aragorn of the Guard. This does have a great ability. Whenever it enters the battlefield or another human enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. So with Eowyn being our commander, it's absolutely going to be fantastic, mainly because when two humans enter the battlefield, our creatures are going to get a +2/+2 and gain vigilance. So I do like this card mainly because it could increase the damage input to our opponents. Another card from the pre-constructed deck is Oath of Eorl. So I do like its lore chapters because it's going to add a lot of value, making 2 human tokens on the battlefield for the first lore chapter, making 2/2 red human creature tokens on the battlefield after that, and then putting an indestructible counter on one target human you control, and you become the Monarch. Becoming the Monarch isn't so bad, but like mainly we want to have the indestructible counter be put on our commander so that it can stay there so that we keep getting value. Plus those first 2 abilities will trigger our commander to make more knight tokens on the battlefield as well. So honestly, this is a great value engine by far. Another card I did want to bring your attention to is not necessarily a human, but definitely brings some great value with Gimli. He does have double strike, and whenever another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Gimli. So there's going to be a lot of legendary creatures in this deck. So we're going to be putting so much counters on Gimli, it's going to be ridiculous. And whenever he deals combat damage, you create a treasure token. Also do note that he does have that double strike ability. So if he deals combat damage to an opponent, instead of 1 treasure, you'll get 2 treasures. So I do like what Gimli is adding to the table. I did also want to mention Eomer, King of Rohan. So he does have double strike, also has that human focus when it enters the battlefield. You put a 1/1 counter on it for each other human creature you control. Also, he has another ability. When he enters the battlefield, target player becomes Monarch. Eomer deals damage equal to its power to any target. So if you want to be political and you want to get a friend in the commander game, you could give the Monarch to somebody else if they're struggling with card draw. On top of that, this could be a huge threat on the board if we do have a lot of humans on the battlefield, which we will because we're going wide with humans. Of course, there's going to be a lot of humans on the battlefield for Eomer to just become bigger. And on top of that, he could be a great removal piece. I did also want to share with you some of the great reprints in the deck, like Shared Animosity and Combat Celebrant. I'll tell you what, these are going to be absolute powerhouses in the deck, mainly with Shared Animosity, because again, we're going to have so much humans on the battlefield, it's going to be ridiculous. Say for example, we have 10 humans on the battlefield, so when they do attack, each of our humans are going to get +10/+0 when they're attacking. So this is going to be an absolute staple in the deck, no question about it. And Combat Celebrant is great to get those extra combats, mainly with Eowyn. There's going to be a lot of different extra combat steps you want to take so that you can put more tokens on the battlefield swinging, so So this is, again, pretty aggressive strategy overall with humans. So with these reprints, they are pretty sweet, but we do also want to discuss some other cards that you may want to consider adding into the deck. Again, I want to keep it with the Lord of the Rings theme as much as I can. There's going to be some cards in the deck that are not going to be in the Lord of the Rings theme, but most of them should be because, again, I love Lord of the Rings. We must have as much Lord of the Rings cards as possible. So to start off the list, of course, we have to have the Troublemakers of Merry and Pippin. They each provide great value. Whenever you attack with Merry and another legendary creature, you draw a card, and it does have first strike as long as it's equipped. With Pippin, it does give protection to another target creature as long as you tap him, and he does have Vigilance and Ward 1, which is a bonus. I did also want to suggest Eowyn Fearless Knight, mainly because when it does enter the battlefield, exile a target creature an opponent controls with greater power. Legendary creatures you control gain protection from each of that creature's colors until end of turn. So she counts both as removal and also protection. It does have haste, so that is a great ability as well. So we have Eowyn. We also have Eomer, Marshal of Rohan. Now this one is pretty sweet. For 4 mana, it does have haste. Whenever one or more attacking legendary creatures you control die, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. This ability only triggers once each turn. So we're going to see how often that will happen, but it does seem pretty cool. If we do have a legendary creature that does die, we'll get an extra combat with Eomer. Another human we could add to the deck is Boromir, Warden of the Tower. I especially like this mainly because it does have that great sacrifice ability. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Also the ring tempts you, but he does have another great ability. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. You're not going to see that too much in casual, but in CDH that's going to be an all-star. Also, let's look at Denethor's other son with Faramir, the Forgotten Child, basically. At the beginning of your end step, choose an opponent. At the beginning of that player's next end step, you draw a card if they didn't attack you that turn. Otherwise create 3 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens. So honestly, I love this card. You either get card draw or you get tokens on the battlefield. What's not to like about Faramir? He's the better son anyways. So I know I mentioned this previously, but I do want to discuss Human Tribal. That's one of the biggest and most popular tribes of all Commander and Magic the Gathering pretty much. Or should I say the most supported? I think Elves is probably the most popular behind Dragons or something like that. I'm not completely sure. So let's discuss some human tribal cards like Theoden, King of Rohan. So whenever he or another human enters the battlefield, a target creature will get double strike. That's great value just for 3 mana. So honestly, quite fantastic by itself. Also, we do have Horn of Gondor. So when it does enter the battlefield, you'll create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token, and if you pay 3 and tap it, you create X 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, where X is the number of humans you control. So obviously, the more humans you do have, the more this will snowball into having a huge board. Speaking of a huge board, we do also have Adeline Resplendent Cathar. Her power is based off of the number of creatures you have on the board, and whenever you do attack, she doesn't have to attack herself. It's whenever you attack with creatures. For each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. That's absolutely bonkers. And on top of that, we do have another card with Kindred Discovery. You're basically going to get so much card draw with humans, whether you're entering the battlefield with them or you're attacking with them. So this is an absolute insane value piece. Also, if you do notice in the deck, we do have a lot of knights, including Eowyn herself and the tokens she does make. And of course, they're Riders of Rohan. They ride horses everywhere they go into battle. So why not give them horsemanship with Herald of the Hoofbeats? Itself and other knights you control have horsemanship. Absolutely crazy. And with this next card, many of you are probably going to scream at me. I hope the Universes Within version comes quickly because I'm not a big fan of having Walking Dead in Magic the Gathering. Lord of the Rings makes sense because it's in a fantasy setting, but with Walking Dead, it's in real life, kind of, with human zombies. But seriously, Rick is absolutely disgusting in Human Tribal. Rick enters the battlefield, choose 2 abilities from among First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Humans you control have each of the chosen abilities, and as long as you control 4 more humans you control get +2/+2. Seriously, are you kidding me? This is absolutely a crazy card, something that probably should have never been printed, but honestly is super powerful for Human Tribal. It gives an anthem to your creatures, and on top of that, your creatures could have First Strike, Vigilance, or Lifelink. That's absolutely nuts. Speaking of nuts, Eowyn is actually a combo machine with another card. I'm going to talk about it in this video. All you need for this 2-card combo is Eowyn Shieldmaiden on the battlefield, maybe with another token on the battlefield battlefield as well, and you'll attach Breath of Fury to that one token. So when that enchanted token deals combat damage to a player, you sacrifice it and attach Breath of Fury to a creature you control. If you do untap all creatures you control after this phase, there's an additional combat phase, and at the beginning of your combat with Eowyn, if another human entered the battlefield under your control this turn, you create 2/2/2 red human creature tokens, and they also have haste as well. So one thing you do need to know is you need to make sure you connect with your knight tokens so that you get that extra combat. A way you can do that is having Herald of the Hoofbeats. With your knights having horsemanship, and if your opponents don't have horsemanship on their creatures, you're going to be winning the game with this 2-card combo, maybe 3-card combo with Herald of the Hoofbeats. So yeah, when I saw this card, I instantly knew Breath of Fury was going to combo with Eowyn, mainly because she makes 2 tokens on the battlefield with haste. It's absolutely incredible. However, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this Precon upgrade video for the Riders of Rohan. Just as a reminder, I do have 2 deck lists down below in the description, one for Eowyn and one for Aragorn. However, let me know down below, which Precon commander do you think is the best? Do you like Eowyn or Aragorn better? I definitely like Eowyn more as an aggressive human tribal strategy. So with that said, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And with that out of the way, thank you for stomping by.